Okay, so I will get music here in a second, guys. But welcome to the pregame show, as always. I am your host, Anthony Bionis. And with me, to my right, is Greg Dietz.
Hi.
So uh, let me a second. Let me get some music because it is tradition to have music while we talk about whatever. Um, as soon as I get this, open with VLC. So, I got an email from Sony. I want to say about a half hour ago, maybe an hour ago, and
Yeah.
they sent me. It was an invite. So it's like, hey, check out this event for Days Gone, the new game that they're gonna be releasing soon. That zombie. Uh,
Right. I know what you're talking about.
mm-hmm. So I was looking at it. It's like if it's like nearby, I might go. Turns out where it's located, it is literally one bus ride away from where I am right now. It is like in my backyard. So I was like, oh, cool, awesome. So it's gonna end it's on a Tuesday too, which I have Tuesday and Wednesdays off from my work. So it's perfect timing. So I'm gonna go check it out.
Cool.
Um, I'd be down to check out that game. I've been hearing because the funny thing about that game is like that game was at least to my knowledge, or just in terms of like what the level of excitement for the game was, it wasn't that high. Um, but I guess when they gave the game to some of the gaming outlets who spent a good amount of time playing it, they've actually coming out praising a lot about the game. So I'm very curious to see what this game is playing wise. I've seen it, but it never demoed well in a presentation setting. So
Right. I was gonna say like it's the visual aspect of the zombies kind of like piling on top of each other, almost looking like a body of water, is really cool. Um, but other than that, it's just like, oh, okay, it's a zombie post-apocalyptic game, and all the characters kind of look like uh, not Left 4 Dead, but Last of Us.
yeah, and there were people that were getting confused between the two at some point.
Really?
Yes, the when they were showing off the trailer, I want to say 2 years ago. That trailer for Last of Us 2, where it's basically I forgot her name, but like they capture one of the women, and it's like torture her, like, and that was
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
People were confused. So like, was this Last of Us, or was this Days Gone? Because they both
Well,
look
we
very
didn't know.
similar. Yeah, we didn't either. So
Yeah, we didn't know until they showed it. We were just like, "Which game is this?" Like,
hmm
it was the second that I saw a Firefly logo that I was like, "Oh, it's the fucking Last of Us 2." That's when I recognized it. But yeah, I mean, that's just poor handling on their part.
yeah,
Their part. I feel
and
it's
the interesting thing is like Sony's not really pushing it as it used to be. Like they're not pushing this game hard to show front, or kind of be like one showcase it to a lot of people. I kind of feel like they kind of are showing the game, but not as much as the other first party
well.
games.
There's a small trend that I've noticed as of late with publishers, and that's new IPs don't get a whole lot of airtime. If you catch my drift, like it's really hard for these publishers to go out of their way. It seems like anyway, to kind of say, "Hey guys, here's a new game that we have coming out, brand new IP, completely original. We know it's kind of scary, and you may not want to buy it immediately because you don't recognize it, but trust us, it's a good one." Like that's what they're thinking. Where gamers are kind of in the ballpark of like, we just want shit that's new. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, don't get me wrong, I'm not against remakes, rehashes. I'm not against that kind of stuff, but yeah, like sometimes this shit gets stale, and we want something new. And I think the problem is that like with certain movies, with the way TV is, this new trend of what's old is new kind of thing. They spot that shit.
Yep.
They see it. You know, when Crash Bandicoot sells an absurd amount of fucking copies, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
they spot that. So
yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna disconnect my headphones here for a second.
okay.
Okay, good. I'm just untangling some shit over here. Um, yeah, and like especially with certain games that come out that have no publicity, like whatsoever. Apex, obviously a most recent example of that, where they come out, no press PR, no anything, game drops, everybody loves it. It's a massive success. Um, I saw.
Well, two things on that. Two things. Um, that game sold. That game, if it if it dropped for like let's say just $30, sorry, it would have been not as much of a success. Two factors in that making it a success. A, it's a good game, plays well, does well. It's part of the genre that's hot as fuck right now. And then there's the other thing. It was free.
Yeah, that's true.
There is no losing when you download it. There is no like, well, if I don't like it, you know, it's that whole aspect. Yes, EA did pay a bunch of streamers millions of dollars to stream the fucking game. But at the end of the day, they ended up spending less on advertisement had they gone the typical route.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a new generation of advertising. It's the way that games are advertised now. So, yeah. But just getting back to the point, like, yeah, like games, publishers are I guess, yeah, as you point out, they're scared of new IPs. Like us gamers, like we want new stuff all the time. Like we crave for new ideas, new worlds, new experiences. But for a lot of publishers, unless it is a proven series they've done before, or there's a good amount of support for it, they're kind of afraid to put out something new out there. Much like entertainment wise, if you think about it. So it's for them scary. For us, we want it. We're hungry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's I think for PlayStation, they are they're a big company, and you know the way that they kind of do business right now is they're looking to sell consoles. At the end of the day, they want to sell consoles.
Yeah,
console sales are what get them, you know, people to buy the games and stuff like that. So they're trying to figure out how to make money, and pushing a new IP is dangerous, scary.
Yep, very much so.
With God of War and Spider-Man, and I pointed this out last year when those games came out, like they're great games, and in no way, shape, or form am I knocking them. However, Spider-Man and God of War are pretty fucking well known.
Yeah,
like,
I would say Spider-Man more so than God of War. Like,
it's not a competition. I mean, it's a situation where they were familiar with the IP. They knew fans would be familiar with the IP. So presenting a brand new game with that familiar IP was a no-brainer to them. They were like, yeah, sure. Here's a bunch of fucking money. But with Days Gone, it's a new thing. Go back to when, like, honestly, go back to when Last of Us came out.
Man,
do you remember how poorly it was advertised?
I do not remember anything about how it was advertised. That is wiped from my memory. I honestly can't remember.
It was advertised about the same. It was the reason that game got any kind of popularity was because, you know, organizations like us were talking about it. You know, we were interested in it. And when I say we, I'm talking about, you know, other podcasts, IGN, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. You know, we were fascinated by this new zombie game. Like, what is it? What exactly does it do? Like, is it, you know, like we just didn't know. There was no information. They were intentionally keeping us in the dark.
Was this game part of the PS? No, it wasn't part of the PS3 launch. Was it early on, or was it in the mid-cycle with PS3?
This is I believe it was a PS4 game, dude.
I could have sworn it's PS. Oh, hang on, let me look it up. The Last of Us. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it came on PS3 worldwide. June 14th, 2013. was the release date. Yeah,
The game was a lot older than I thought.
yeah.
Uh,
Because I remember I remember it came out, and I do remember it was on the PS3 generation. Um, I can't remember if it came in Splash. I mean, obviously it was critically reviewed very well.
yeah,
But
yeah, that was the big thing, was like, it was because it was critically acclaimed, because the outlets were talking about it, because of what it was doing, is why it sold well. But back then, like, it felt like less of a gamble for them, where now it's more of a gamble. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely, yes. It is definitely much more gamble now than it was ever before.
I
Because
was legit surprised to see February's game sales. By the way, did you see that?
for
February for this year, February's game sales.
I did not know.
Anthem is number one.
And is this like in the U.S. or just across the world? Or
I don't know if it's worldwide. I didn't see that part. All I know is that two outlets that I follow posted a thing saying, showing the monthly earnings for every game that came out, or every game that's been released, whether it was released in February, before February. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is still number 5, so like shit like that.
right.
Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was I think 10, which surprised the shit. I was like, really? Wow.
I mean, I'm kind of not surprised. Like, we're in. See, it's in February. And it makes sense because like it was. I would still consider February kind of like still early late 2018, early 2019, where games were still probably being played or getting bought from December, November, crossing over to
Right.
this year.
What, like, Red Dead doesn't surprise me. Black Ops surprises me, because I figure in my mind that a game like Black Ops would sell poorly after Apex's release.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Okay, I was about to say because like when Call of Duty came out last year, like it was actually that game was really good.
No, I bought it. I have nothing against it. It's just it didn't seem like the kind of, like, I guess I'm curious how many people are playing Blackout versus playing regular Call of Duty in that game.
I think there's this good number, just because there's a lot of people who enjoy Call of Duty the way that it feels and plays, and the fact that there was a battle royale games added to it made a lot of sense for them, versus Apex, which came out for free, much different game, which a lot of people have hopped on board, obviously for obvious reasons.
I'm not. Again, this is not me saying like one is better than the other, because they are different enough.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just like they have each game has their different play style, but also like dedicated core base.
I guess.
Trust me, there are people out there who still play Marvel 2 today very competitively, and that game is a good decade or two old.
But here's my thing, Anthony. You say it has its core base. Why is their core base still buying the game?
Because they're loyal to Call of Duty. Stupid reasons.
So they bought multiple copies, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I say that as somebody who's bought at least Skullgirls 5-6 times on different platforms.
Okay.
So, and I do it to support the game company and also love with the game. So, that mentality might be the same with people who play Call of Duty. Not all, but
I genuinely, honestly doubt it that's the case. I think what's happening here is that a lot of kids who play video games, kids like my nephews, don't really know video games beyond what their friends tell them, what maybe their uncle tells them. They don't know what they want to buy. Christmas just happened, and maybe some of these kids were promised money at some point. I know that a lot of parents probably were like, hey, Jimmy, when I get my income tax in, we can get a game. Maybe a lot of these people that love Call of Duty weren't able to buy the game when it first came out. That's what I think's happening. and that the income taxes helped with that immensely.
Possibly.
I do not believe for a second that there's a huge number of Call of Duty fans out there that are buying the game on multiple consoles because they can.
True. I think for the first
like I bought I bought Shovel Knight on multiple consoles.
Right.
But I didn't buy it on multiple consoles because I wanted to. I bought it on multiple consoles because I needed to. I needed to buy it on the Xbox One so I could stream it. But I already had it on the DS because it was the only console I had. I then bought it for my nephews on their PS4 so they could play it, even though I technically also played it. Yeah. I'm just stating, like, it's very strange to me that there would be a bunch of people out there rebuying Black Ops 4 when they bought it once already, and realistically they're probably playing it on that one console that they have.
It could be that a lot of people were holding off maybe and waiting for a sale. But there's also possibly the other reason why that there's a spike of sales for Call of Duty. That's me just guessing, but there are multiple reasons why why there's a spike for Call of Duty sales, and to be on that list. So
I think it has everything to do with income tax, man. I really do. I don't think it's anything other than that. It doesn't make any sense for it to be anything other than that. Same with all the games that came out August till now. Like Smash Brothers was number 3, I think. Like, it makes sense when you think about it. Like, all these games that came out around the end of the year last year are suddenly, like, towards the top of the list for seemingly no reason. And it's like, oh, it's because all these people couldn't afford it then, and now they can. So now they're buying it.
Yeah. Again, I think it's multiple reasons, and it's not too far-fetched to think that it was just the tax refund. People getting that back to buy the game. And it makes sense too, because we're in that tax season for a lot of people. But yeah, it's interesting. What else was on that list, by the way?
I'm trying to remember, and I'm in the middle of actually I can just lose. That's why I play Tetris when I'm doing this, so I can just lose and then go back and play. I think IGN reported it at one point. Yeah, I completely missed all that Google News, by the way, today.
You did? Wow.
Yeah, like no joke. I've been playing because I woke up, watched the last 2 episodes of the show that we have to do for All Queued Up tomorrow, and then immediately downloaded the update for Apex, played that for an hour, then played Batiste for an hour, and then went right into Division until about 3 when I had to go to the store, come home, got something to eat, watched a couple YouTube videos, and then set this up. When I was sitting downstairs waiting to get into the kitchen, because my dad was putting food away, the news was on and it mentioned it. And I was like, oh, all right.
Oh boy, I have the pleasure of informing you everything what happened today. All right.
Yeah, I literally completely passed me.
Wow. Yeah, it was a big thing this morning. I just so happened to be awake to watch it. I won't go into full details, but I will say about the overall presentation. It very much reminds me of the old E3 press conferences. The way that I was styled, and kind of like going from one presenter to another. You had like screenshots of different images on screen and all that yada yada. More business, more the business type of presentation. So when I saw that, it's like, oh wow, this takes me back. This takes me back a long while. But yeah, all right, cool. I will inform you all the deets on that when it happens.
Man, I'm trying to remember who posted. It was not IGN, apparently.
Oh. It was some outlet, some gaming outlet out there.
I'm looking at Kotaku right now, so looking at their Twitter.
Gotcha.
I like how they posted about how GTA 5 RP is becoming like a big thing right now, and I'm just like,
It's been a thing.
it was, and then it died, and then it became a big thing again, and then it died, and now it's a big thing again. It goes through cycles, folks. Just fucking keep up.
Yeah.
No, that was okay. It wasn't a Kotaku. Polygon? Well, I'm just gonna to
Is it MPDs?
top games. I believe it was from them.
Oh, okay. I think the MPDs. I believe. I remember long ago they said that they're still going to report on games.
Yes. Okay.
But,
So Game Informer posted it as well. So here we
gotcha.
go.
Okay.
Oh wow, it has the top 20.
Ooh. Ooh.
So this is the top 20 for February 2019. Anthem is number 1. Jump Force number 2. Number 3, Kingdom Hearts 3. Number 4, Far Cry New Dawn. Number 6, Red Dead 2. Number 5 is Red Dead 2. Number 6 is Resident Evil 2. Number 7, Smash Bros. Ultimate. 8, Metro Exodus. 9, NBA 2K19. 10, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. 11, New Super Smash Bros. U Deluxe. 12, Mario Kart 8. 13, Grand Theft Auto 5. That's not surprising in the slightest. 14, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. 15, Breath of the Wild. 16, Minecraft. Yeah. 17, Super Mario Party. 18, Rainbow Six Siege. 19, Madden NFL 19. And 20, Spider-Man.
That is a very interesting top 20. Wow.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
And that's just February.
Wow. That's just a shame. Minecraft's up there. So is Call of Duty. That's crazy. Part of me says maybe it's yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm thinking maybe it was kind of a slow. Because there were anything, was it? No. Hey, no, there were like a couple games that came out in Jan that was pretty big. RE2 Remake was one of them. And then what else? What else was released in January that was huge? No, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 right afterwards. Well, not in January, but oh yeah, it was in Jan. No, I'm thinking Feb. Yeah, interesting. I'm not. Yeah, it's an interesting top 20. I think that. Yeah, I think that it's.
Sorry, I was looking at a couple other things. Yeah, no, it's. What's the most fascinating thing to me about it is that, a lot of people are shitting and saying like, oh, Anthem didn't sell well. Anthem sold the shit. And it's like, okay, those sales that you saw were not the complete number of sales of Anthem. What a lot of people don't understand is that when you buy a game digitally, let's say you bought it digitally on Origin, or you bought it digitally on the Xbox or PS4, those sales numbers don't get tabulated until way late. Way the fuck late. And if you're looking at physical sales of Anthem, they were fucking abysmal. But that's if you're just looking at that, which they were. But of course, these, news is trying to get fresh news out there is about as hard as trying to keep fucking milk from spoiling.
Yeah, there's a lot of games, and there's definitely some more news stories out there of like not just Anthem, but other games where it says like, oh, this game sold poorly on physical retail. And it's like, I'm pretty sure the majority of everybody bought digital, and tracking digital sales is much harder. You can have a guesstimate how many sales happened for a game digital wise, but I can probably assure you, unless somehow there was no sales or very little, usually a big game that is on sale on digital probably sells a lot more on digital versus physical.
It depends, yeah. It depends on the game. I think Anthem, Division, games like that are definitely in the ballpark of like get it digitally. Games like Kingdom Hearts, Spider-Man, God of War, those are probably bought. Or store-bought, I should say. And this is just I don't know for sure if that's the case because I don't know, but
right.
I have to imagine that is the case just because 9 times out of 10, and this isn't dogging anybody, but people who buy single player games are very I don't want to say territorial, but they're very like, I gotta have the physical copy.
What are you trying to say, Greg? What are you trying to say?
Not trying to say anything.
Are you trying to talk shit? Are you trying to talk shit? Huh? Huh? Fuck you. Okay.
No, look at a company like Limited Run.
Right. Yeah.
You know, their whole mission is to supply a physical copy to a lot of these games that don't have physical copies. And I think that's great. I have nothing against that. But as I pointed out, I think that there is plenty room in this industry for both physical and digital. I don't see why we can't have both, you know? Yeah, it's crazy to me that we have to sit there and fight about it. It's like I
understand both sides. Like on one side, digital because the convenience, you know.
Absolutely the convenience.
Like I can preload a game before it launches and buy it beforehand. Hell yeah. On the other side, physical, like, and we'll get into it when we talk about it in the podcast, but this, you know, the streaming future, you know, everything digital means that you don't have a physical copy. Meaning, if any server or say Sony's, you know, shuts down, you don't have, or Steam's, you know, library or servers go down, you don't have access to those games anymore.
Also, physical is probably the easiest way to preserve the history.
Yeah.
Which is why I say what I say. Like, there needs to be a space for both. It's not just I want. It's like, well, do you want people to remember Halo? then you know, be happy that there's physical copies. It's just I choose to buy my games digitally because I don't want the clutter. I don't own any more DVDs because I don't want the clutter. There's board games and garbage in my room that I've been trying to get rid of for years that don't get played because no one's gonna fucking play it. I bought a Battlestar Galactica board game. It's a great game, but I need to sell it. I need to get rid of it. Because it is just sitting in my room, collecting dust, doing absolutely nothing. Okay. And it was I bought it because I was like, people are playing board games right now. Battlestar Galactica is hot. It'll be fun. Played it 3 times.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Hang on, let me look what I got.
Well, that's, you know, like, I have the collector's edition of Halo 3. I have the collector's edition of Halo Reach. I have the physical discs of those games. And that's great. I don't need them. Especially with the Master Chief Collection being a thing.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm super excited about that. So I have played every Halo game except for ODST and 5? Yeah, and 5. Because I had them on Xbox One. So hopefully maybe 5 will go on PC. I have a copy of ODST for quite some time. I was holding off because I wanted to make some video content with it at some point. Actually, I got it for free from Microsoft when they were doing the whole testing Xbox Live thing, like way back before they transitioned to what they had prior to the Xbox 360 blades and whatnot. So, Bird Slusher, I got a free game from Microsoft. So, money aside.
You know what I want to do? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just thought of something. I was listening to what you're saying, but I just thought of something rad that we need to try to do. We need to get the guy who runs, somebody who's a higher up at Limited Run on the podcast.
I think I might know. We might know somebody. I think. I think we do. But yes, that'd be great. I would love that.
I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that angle on this because, like, do they feel like that digital games deserve a spot in the market? Like, I want to know. I want to know what they think.
I'm gonna clip this and send it to them. And tweet at them like, "Hey, can we have somebody come on our podcast and talk about this? Get their thoughts on it." Just saying.
I would be very happy about that.
Also, Kirby says hi.
Who?
Kirby.
Hi, Kirby. Is that a viewer right now that I can't see?
Oh, no. Oh, you don't just stream on. Okay, I got a Kirby plushie from the Goodwill. Like, it's for $5, but it's the best $5 I spent. Because Kirby it's very cute and awesome.
Okay, all right, good to know.
That's why I said.
Speaking of Kirby, his game was recently added to the Switch games roster thing.
Nice, awesome. Which version or which game in particular?
The NES one. So it's
nice.
You know how the Game Boy one is like stupid short, like you beat that thing in an hour.
Yeah.
This one takes like a solid 3 hours to beat.
Oh wow.
Plus to add like a bunch more content to it and whatnot.
I have every Kirby game I played. I have not been disappointed. Like they're all fun.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you never can go wrong with Kirby games. Honestly, I feel like whatever they do with Kirby games has always been fun to play.
That's Sakurai's legacy right there.
Absolutely, it's his
smash.
Yeah. So, I need to. Yeah, there's definitely some Kirby games I need to play more, or I need to get to playing. Like I haven't played the mech one that came out on 3DS, and I was super excited for that one.
Yeah, that I didn't like the controls of that one, to be honest with you. I didn't hate the premise. I didn't hate the idea behind it. I just didn't like the controls.
I see.
The one joystick, like we moved past a long time ago. Single stick first person shooter.
Yeah.
It's hard as hell to do that now, and that's how that game controls. So
I see. Okay. Cool.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, because I haven't played it yet. I need to buy the game first, and then I'll play it, and then I'll let you know like what my thoughts are on it at some point. That's
if you wanna.
Oh, by the way, I was gonna ask you. So, what happened Saturday night? Because you were pretty drunk.
Oh, so my buddy who lives in, well, actually, I don't remember the town. He had a housewarming party. So, I think I feel free to tell the story because he doesn't listen to the podcast and neither do any of my friends. Well,
that we know of.
If they do, then I'll know after telling the story. So Mikey, he's been a good friend of mine and my buddy Andy for a long time. And very recently here, his fiance wanted to break up. She said she wasn't happy and that she just was done with the relationship. So he was like, that he didn't know how to handle it. So he you know, championed on, if you will. And years ago, he was in an accident at work. A backhoe, because he was in a ditch, he was in a construction site. A backhoe lowered onto his head.
Oh fuck!
Compressing his spine. Jesus. And he'd been on workman's comp for a long time and on disability for a long time, and he started being able to like do things recently, and then this bombshell dropped. So, with the money he had saved, since they were fiancés, they weren't, or you know, they were going to get married, but they weren't married. There was no actual legal attachment. Like the house that they had, he ended up getting rid of. I think he sold or something to that effect. I don't think they actually owned it. I think they were renting it, but they got rid of it, and he got a huge settlement. Sorry, a huge settlement out of the lawsuit with the spine injury. So he went and bought a house. I believe it's in Fair Oaks. I believe he lives in Fair Oaks. No, maybe not Fair Oaks. It's 30 minutes from here. Kind of close to Orange County. Not Orange County, but it doesn't matter. It's about 30 minutes from my house. But yeah, he invited me. He just sent me a message on Facebook, and he was just like, "Hey, I want you to come to my housewarming party." I was like, "All right, yeah, no problem, man." And I was talking to my dad about it, and I was like, "Do you think you could give me a ride there?" He was like, yeah, sure, no problem. We figured it all out and whatnot, and he drops me off, and I was there from 2 to like 8, and it was just like he makes jungle juice. If you've ever had that before,
Uh, Jamba Juice in general or Jamba Juice mixed drink?
jungle juice.
Oh, jungle juice. Okay, no, I have not.
Have you ever had Jamba Juice? You know, that multi-billion-dollar company. Uh, Jungle Juice is basically, hey, do you have all these different types of alcohol? Cool. Dump them all into this thing with some fruit.
Damn, that is like it's basically King's Cup without the juice.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's very, very sweet. Like it's dangerously sweet.
Interesting.
So dangerous that I drink too much of it.
As one would.
Yeah, and then it was delicious. But yeah, that's what happened Saturday. I just got super fucking drunk. Tried to keep my composure, and then like Sunday, I was like I didn't have a headache because I don't usually get headaches because I know to drink a shit ton of water before I go to bed. But my god, dude, it was a good time though. One of the funny things was I get there, I'm wearing my my Vader shirt. It just has a bunch of Vader heads on it if you've ever seen it. But this girl, she just goes, "Oh, sweet shirt," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, yeah, whatever." Not thinking anything of it, just because nobody ever compliments that shirt. And then I hear her ringtone, and it's R2D2 screaming. And I was like, "Oh, that's a dope ringtone." And she's like, "Oh, thanks." And she goes, "Yeah, I'm a big fan of Star Wars." And I was like, "Same here." And she goes, she mentions her tattoo. And I was just like, "Oh, you got a tattoo? I'll show you mine." She's like, "Oh, you got a tattoo?" So we showed each other's tattoos. Hers was a little different than mine. It was the Millennium Falcon with a ribbon above it that said, "Never tell me the odds."
Nice.
Yeah. And then oh, I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ, I don't know where the Jones coming from. Mikey took me inside to get a little tour of his house. He has these badass fucking like a fridge and a freezer in the garage where you just have to hit a lever with your foot on the bottom of the fridge to open the door.
I like it. That's cool.
It's fucking dope.
That's dope.
Yeah. And he's like, "These are my pride and joys." But I go back outside and she's just like, "So, since you're a big fan of Star Wars, I have to know what's your thoughts on Last Jedi?"
Oh.
And I went. Honestly, I loved it. She's like, "I feel like I'm in a league of my own. I didn't like it at all." And I was like, "Really? That's weird." And she goes, "Why is that?" And I was like, "Because I can't find anybody who agrees with me that it's good." She's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, I have a few friends that are like, "It's okay," and most people that I've talked to are like, "It's garbage." She's like, "We were hanging out with different people entirely." I was like, "I agree." And she goes, "Well, why didn't you dislike it?" And I was like, you know, it's a great story about failure. Every character has their growing moments because they failed. The whole story is about these characters' growth, and it worked really well in the fashion that they told it. I think it works on cerebral levels. It talks about learning from that failure instead of just trying to overcome it. And I thought that was a very great message. And plus, I enjoy the message of like anybody can become great from nothing. She goes, "See, yeah, I got all that. It's not what I wanted." And I said, "No, see, I hear that a lot. I hear it's not what I wanted, but this isn't your story to be told." I said 9 times out of 10, people are pulling from the extended universe. And she's like, "Yeah, I read all those books." And I was like, "Okay, you have to understand, those books were written by fanboys, not George Lucas or not actual storytellers." I said, "The problem that I've always had with those books is that Luke is a superhero. He is the Superman of the Star Wars universe. He is infallible in those books. But in this new version, he's absolutely fallible." She goes, I've always looked at him as a superhero." And I say, "And that's the problem." And she goes, well, how is it a problem? I go, because you have this omnipotent view of Skywalker, of Luke specifically. And she's like, he's the one that's supposed to bring balance to the Force. And I go, where does it ever say that he's the one to bring balance to the Force? Tell me one time in the film that he is implicitly, with no question, told he is the one to bring balance to the Force. And she goes, doesn't Yoda say it? And I go, no. As a matter of fact, Yoda doesn't want to train him. Yoda doesn't believe that he is at all worthy to wield the Force. It's Obi-Wan that is saying this. Because Obi-Wan feels that it's the last hope. A new hope, if you will.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
She goes, oh, I always took it as he was the one to bring balance. And I was like, Anakin is the only one to have said to bring balance to the Force. But Obi-Wan, being trained by Qui-Gon, gets it so into his head that Anakin is the one. Anakin is the one to fix all these problems within the Empire, within the Force. That he's the one that's going to bring balance to it, that he buys into that.
Sorry, go on, sorry. It's just what happened in chat.
I looked down, I just see message deleted. I was like, all right, somebody said something about me being fat. Got it. Understood.
Nah, it's, well, yeah, go on.
He said something about big chins because you wrote that, so.
No, I was going to say, no, never mind. No, just continue.
But he says, or I tell her, I go, you know, it's fine that you have this view of the movie. It's fine that you have this view of the things, but if you look at it from JJ's perspective or Rian Johnson's perspective, you have to understand that the story that they're telling is the story that the movies give. Not what the extended universe, not what the fans always had their vision of Luke. She was like, okay, I think I understand what you're talking about. And I go, I'm not saying you have to like the movie. I'm not saying you have to agree with my viewpoint on it. But at the end of the day, Luke not knowing how to handle the mistake that he made and running off to some fucking fuck knows all where planet to sulk is 100% a Luke thing to do. And she goes, he's just never been whiny to me.
I would point to the first Star Wars movie,
well,
I would like.
I do. I go, look at his character arc. I said in the first movie, he's just super whiny. I want to go to the Tashi station. All right, cool. Fucking shut the fuck up, Luke. Give sass to fucking Han Solo because Han Solo wants to charge them for taking them to Alderaan. And then when he sees them on the fact, he's like, this hunk of junk. New Hope. And then what happens when, like, fucking Princess Leia's entire planet and family are decimated in one swift blow? I want to go get power converter. And then they go and they attack the Death Star, thinking they could do anything, to save Leia. They get back on the Millennium Falcon because Obi-Wan died trying to fight Vader. I mean, he died. He became one with the Force.
Yeah.
So he can't, what does he do? What's the first thing Luke does? He has a fucking breakdown because an old man he's known for approximately 24 hours died. Man, she's comforting you for an old man you've known for a day when her planet was destroyed maybe less than a week ago.
Yep.
She's way stronger than you, dude.
Yep.
And then you look at the rest of the film and, like, he starts to man up a little bit, but it's mostly Leia. It's mostly Han that step up to the plate. Obi-Wan is not omnipotent. Obi-Wan makes mistakes constantly. And the mistake that he made was thinking that dying was the way to get Luke to see the fucking, Force correctly. And it's I'm not saying I hate Luke as a character. I'm just pointing out that, like, the way that his character works in Last Jedi makes sense when you see the other films. So then let's look at Empire. Love Empire. My favorite Star Wars movie, right? Luke is a bitch to the whole fucking thing. Okay? He starts off with, like, I gotta go scout for Imperial things and troops and whatever. Echo Base is like, you need to come back, dude. Like, we're getting ready to get out of here.
It's true.
He's like, nope, I got to scout. And then he gets hit in the face by a Wampa because he won't head back to fucking Echo Base. Almost dies. Forces Han and a couple other guys to go searching for him, which delays them even further. Then him having to be in the Bantha tank and sitting there in the fucking hospital bed delays them even longer, to the point that the Empire shows up, kills God knows how many fucking rebels.
Yeah.
And what happens? Everyone gets out of there, and Luke's like, hey, I'm taking R2 and doing this thing that some ghost told me. Fuck you guys. I gotta go on my own destiny. All right, cool, Luke. You do your thing, bud. And then he goes and meets Yoda. And Yoda acts like a crazy old hermit because, well, you would be a crazy old hermit if you were in Yoda's position. But also, Yoda doesn't want to train him. Yoda is intentionally being annoying to chase Luke away, to get Luke off his scent. Yoda knows what the fuck is going on. Yoda's been around for 700 years.
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, he's acting crazy, but he knows he's smart enough to know what's up.
Yeah. But he agrees to train Luke because why the fuck else Yoda got going on, Plus, he's like, Obi-Wan might have a point with him being the last hope or whatever. So he trains him. And Luke whines constantly through the fucking training. Constantly. No, I'm not saying that the training wasn't hard. I'm just pointing out, like, he whines through it all the way through. Yeah, exactly, Cody. Yeah. I can't lift it.
Oh, it's so good. I love this.
And then what happens at the end of the movie? Everything that Leia and Han are doing on Cloud City and whatnot gets them in trouble. Luke goes, I gotta go save my friends. Yoda's like, you can't. Your training's not complete. You're nowhere near ready to go fight Vader. Like, you have to let go of these things in order to finish your training. He goes, nah, what the fuck do you know, 700-year-old Jedi that I left my friends in the first place to come find? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Heads to Cloud City, thinks himself high and mighty, and fights Vader, gets his ever-loving ass kicked by Vader.
Yep.
Not one time does Luke have any upper hand on that fight at all.
Ha.
And then he loses. And what does he do? What is his reaction to Vader telling him that he's the father? What's his reaction? It isn't shock. It isn't disbelief. It's, no! It's impossible!
No! And then his arm goes off and then he falls.
Well, it's already off at that point.
That's true. I forgot, yeah. He falls and then he's saved.
Yavila, well, at least I'm not a furry. Boom! I have nothing against furries, I just want to say it.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like,
No, if it's a lifestyle that doesn't hurt anybody else, I don't fucking care. You do you. But to further this, now let's look at Return of the Jedi.
It's great.
Let's look at Return of the Jedi. This is the first time Luke comes out of his shell. He becomes less whiny. But he's still kind of whiny. He's still kind of in that ballpark of unsure of himself. Not quite there. And throughout the whole film, it looks like he's going to be a badass until he meets up with fucking the Emperor. And what does Palpatine do? Palpatine plays a fucking mind game with him. was like, you picked up your lightsaber and you're agreeing to the dark side. So what does he do? He throws his lightsaber. Like, he gets rid of it. But then he agrees that, like, part of being human is that anger part. Like, you have to express that. And it's like, okay, great. And you still didn't do a whole lot, Luke. You still fucked up, like, 2 movies in, and you whined a ton. Like, this is the only time that you've ever been even kind of not annoying. For me, it made perfect sense that after Jedi, Luke would be like, well, I'm the only Jedi now. I'm the last Jedi. So I gotta build the temple and train people, even though I don't know jack from shit. But Luke would be traumatized. Luke would have some form of PTSD. So it makes sense that in his dreams, which he's interpreting as the Force talking to him, that he would see Ben Solo as a threat. And in his infinite wisdom, would strike down a student in his sleep, realizing this is a mistake, and knowing that he fucked up big time, because instead of going to Ben Solo and saying, hey, maybe don't do this, and I can show you the way. Trust me, I was a whiny bitch as a kid too. You don't have to be. No, he tries to fucking strike him down in his sleep.
Yeah.
Like an idiot.
Yep.
So yeah, when Rey hands the lightsaber to Luke, and Luke's been isolated on this planet, like Yoda, and he hucks the lightsaber over his shoulder, I was like, perfect.
Just gonna be a hobo Jedi, and just gonna drink just straight up alien cow milk for the rest of my life.
People always say that too, like, it's a gross scene, and I'm just like, do you watch Star Wars? Have you watched a Star Wars film and you think that part's gross?
Doesn't mind me, although I would understand why people would not like that in there. Like, what context does it add, really? What the fuck? We let go of Matthews? Son of a bitch.
Oh, stop talking about football.
Sorry, I just saw the news. Packers. Anyways, so what
I didn't tell her that story like that.
Okay,
I
was about to say, getting back to you talking to this girl, like, what happened after you guys discussed?
First off, she made it very clear in her body language and the way that she was speaking. My husband and I. So I was like, okay, flirt game off.
Okay.
That was just 2 people talking about Star Wars.
I was about to say, because it sounded like you guys were hitting it off pretty well. Okay, duly noted.
Yeah, no, it was basically trying to explain to her that, like, the story of Rey and Luke made sense, because Luke being the hermit and Rey Rey not understanding things, her being kind of naive. Poe fucking up because he thinks he's a hot shot. Holdo fucking up by not telling Poe the plan, even though Poe was demoted, and Poe not understanding why he wasn't being told. Like, that whole scene. General. Can't think of his fucking name. The guy that runs the First Order, the goofy redhead. Him fucking up by not allowing, allowing this slow chase to happen, which it ultimately ended with Holdo, light speeding through his ships. Kylo Ren fucking up by I guess following Snoke. Finn fucking up by not understanding a war, just not understanding it. Rose fucking up by not keeping Finn on task. The whole movie is the heroes fucking up. And not even just the heroes. Every character fucks up through that whole thing until the very end of the movie. Rose redeems himself by saving Finn. Finn redeems himself by saving Rose because he's trying to save everybody else. He understands the purpose of war. Rey shows back up because she realizes that sometimes trying to find this omnipotent master isn't what you need to do. Luke redeems himself by force projecting there and teaching Kylo Ren a lesson. Kylo doesn't redeem himself because he's the bad guy. Poe redeems himself by listening to what needs to actually happen to save lives versus, going gung-ho into things, thinking that he can kill everybody. There's a brilliant scene where there's a bunch of people, including Leia, standing in that room on the planet, and the salt planet, and he's like, "We got to do this and this and this, and we got everybody through here." Like, he's saving people, and what does Leia do? She's like, "Listen to the guy." Like, she's seen the evolution of his character. She's seen the growth. People, it's not hard to follow.
Well, and that has been Why You're Wrong with Greg Dietz. Oh boy.
Yeah, we finished talking about that, got into talking about Marvel movies, but a lot of these people that are at that party are in the same, like, they have this weird mindset of like all these movies have a feminist agenda, and I'm just like,
No.
I mean, they have a feminist angle, but not a feminist agenda.
Yeah. I don't believe that for one bit. But yeah.
No, that's dope, Blair. Sorry, I completely passed over that.
Yeah. No, I saw that too.
Water.
Yeah, go for
My
it.
cup is completely empty, so I'll be right back.
All right. So now that Greg is out of the picture, what's up, guys? You just heard a very long rant from Greg, and I did not stop him for no reason. And I thought he's gonna go with, "Hey, this girl and I were talking at the party about Star Wars. We both love Star Wars. You know." I thought that he was gonna end it with, "Hey, maybe there's something there," but no. Nope. Just talking about Star Wars stuff. Also, yes, Valere, that collection looks pretty sick. And then the whole clothes fall off. Exactly. As one would when you're talking about Star Wars. You know. That's why my clothes are still on, because I'm not talking about it. I did see that link, Valera, though. I am very curious what they put in the Contra collection. I'm excited for that. I like what they have so far, but I'm very, very curious to see what else they put in there. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna see what they have, especially that Castlevania collection too. So, but I believe it's time, Greg. I believe that it is time to start the show. And all right, well,
You say so.